So first things first, let's start at the very beginning for both of y'all. So you both have a very interesting careers in the past here. So, and you started a lot earlier than I think a lot of people would assume. So your first one was with, remind us again, Neon.
Oh, actually, no. That was
That was not
so
first.
on IMDb. The way it's all
Yes.
like laid out is since I guess the first one was in like '96 or something like
Yes.
that. They're like, and I just was in the one that was maybe a few months ago when they redubbed it and put it on Netflix.
Yeah, it's
so
very misconceived.
exactly. So it looks like my VO career started in 1996, but that is the biggest lie.
Which would have been really exciting to be that young and do it.
For
but-
real. Yeah. I mean, like that was when I first discovered what voiceover was when
Yeah.
I was like around it was like around when Invader Zim came out, and I was like, wait a minute, that's Daggett Beaver. Oh my gosh, like somebody did this and I want to do that. That was like when I became coherent enough. So yeah, that was not that time.
Okay. Great, and how about you?
Kind of the same thing. I think probably the earliest thing that would be on IMDb that says that I started in was Sailor Moon, but that's because, they dubbed it like 25 years ago, something like that. But I'm in the new dub, which happened, I don't know, 5-something years ago, whatever. But I was actually probably 13 when the original Sailor Moon dub came out, so there's no way that was me. But the earliest thing I did that people would probably know is, well, the first big anime I did was Magi the Labyrinth of Magic, so I played Aladdin in that. But the very first project I did when I moved out to LA, the first big project, I played Pac-Man. Yeah,
Really?
Pac-Man, woo! I did in
That's
a
awesome.
video game based off a TV show that they
Which
did in
one?
Canada. It's called Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was like a
pretty
weird
sweet.
Pac-Man platforming game.
Is that PS2?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think it was on the 3DS
I love
too.
those things.
Yeah, it's so goofy, but it was really fun. So yeah, that's like the first thing I did a voice match for the character Pac-Man from the show to the video game. So
That's amazing.
yeah, great.
And so speaking of those, how did you first stumble into voice acting then? Did you start off as a stage actor, or did you just dive right in and say, you know what, this is what I need to do?
So for me, I started out in musical theater, and I was doing that. Hey, musical theater buddies. So yeah, I was doing Aladdin in the Aladdin musical spectacular.
You too.
As well. So much in common. And that brought me to California, and I was continuing to do musical theater, and I was doing American Idiot, the Green Day musical, and the musical director was like, hey, you should, because we had talked about how I wanted to get into voiceover or something like that. He was like, you should meet my friend Ezra. He is a voiceover director, and I should hook you guys up. So I got in with him, and I went into an audition for a live-action dub, and I met Lauren Landa in the waiting room. And I was like, so what do you do other than voiceover? Because I was, serving tables and stuff, so I was, wondering what her day job was. She was like, oh, I've been doing this for, 12 years. I do this full-time. So I was like, can I just, talk your ear off about this at, coffee sometime? And she was like, yeah, of course. So she, told me, who to meet, the classes to take, and all that stuff, and just, kind of gave me a nice blueprint. And I just got into those classes as soon as I could, and I started getting auditions from Bang Zoom, and that's pretty much where it started from there. So
Great. Hear that? Education.
there we go.
Education
Take
is
classes.
Paramount.
No, it's super important, honestly. I got interested in voiceover because I just love, anime and cartoons in general and video games. So I started looking it up online and stuff like that. And I would join hobbyist websites about voiceover. So I did that for a while when I was a kid and couldn't really do much else. So that was my practice for it technically. Without actually being professional practice. So I eventually moved out to Los Angeles because I actually have a bachelor's in arts in animation that I have never used, but I paid for it, so it's mine. Yay. So it kind of blends in together, but instead of making the cartoons, I voice the cartoons, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I basically moved out to LA and then started eventually taking classes and got in with Bang Zoom as well, and started doing a lot of work with them and met more studios and more people as time went by and just got to know people, and the rest is history, I guess. And getting really lucky, I feel is kind of a big key to it too, because there are so many people that try to get in and are just as talented, if not more talented, than any other person that's working in the industry right now, and it just doesn't work out sometimes. It takes them a long time. So I was lucky, and it happened pretty quick for me. So yeah.
Thank you for those insights. All right, looks like we've already got one victim.
I know that guy.
So let's go ahead and throw it to the audience for questions. Just a reminder, please don't ask for requests of like hugs and selfies, because what you could do instead is just go ahead and visit them at the booths,
Yeah.
which you should
We're
do
right
anyway.
next to each other. It's
you
nice.
should do it. Cool. So let's go ahead and kick things off. What's your name?
Kenan. Yes. I had a quick question. How would you think Naofumi and Josuke would react to meeting each other?
Oh man, they're both pretty stubborn, and I feel like Josuke is a little bit too much energy. It's a little bit too high energy for Naofumi. I don't think he has a lot of time for that kind of stuff. So I feel like Naofumi would just be so annoyed by Josuke, but I would love to see that fight. That would be awesome. I don't know which way I would go with that one. It would be interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks. Anybody else got some questions lined up? Yeah, come on up. Tell us your name.
I am Peyton, and I had a question for like the both of you. Like, there's this, like, you know, the big old subs versus dubs thing. Was there like, were you ever stressed? Like, oh, are they gonna like it? Is it gonna be okay? Like, were you stressed about that?
I mean, the end goal is obviously you want people to like what you do, but for me, like, I watch subs sometimes too, so if people prefer one over the other, like, that's just preference. What I don't like is when people are really mean about it, like, that there's no point in that on either side. Like, sometimes dub fans are kind of mean to sub fans, and it's really weird. I think we should all just enjoy the fact that we all love great shows, honestly. So, you know, again, it's up to personal preference. If people like the sub better and they tell me they like the show, they've never heard what I've done, like, I'm not gonna be like, no, please go away, you don't know my work, you know? I'm just like, oh, that's cool, like, if you want me to sign your stuff, that's fine. But it's always great when people come up to you and say that they really enjoy your work, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel like as long as people are enjoying the show, that's really the end goal of this. And I feel like it is weird that there is like the whole dubs versus subs, because like, guys, we all like the same thing. Like, why are we fighting? It's like, man, I really like Post Raisin Bran, but I hate Kellogg's Raisin Bran, like that kind of thing. So yeah, it's one of those things where you can't actually worry about that stuff, like in the booth. Like when you're just, your job as the actor is to just be a good actor and like bring what you see on the screen to life. So you can't get bogged down about, man, I hope people like what we do right now, or like that'll just make you flub a line so quick. If you ever get in your head about something like, oh, I hope I don't, this is a long line, I hope I don't mess this up, like you're immediately gonna mess up that line. So just staying in the moment as much as you possibly can and just putting out a good product is the biggest thing that you can do. So that's what I always try to strive for.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. Next question. Tell us your name.
Hello, I'm Gavin.
What's up, Gavin?
So how do you guys feel about like hearing your voices in like big screen movies now, like My Hero and Promare?
Oh, that's crazy.
It's the craziest thing.
Yeah, I actually hadn't. I had seen the Fairy Tale Dragon's Cry as I think the first theatrical release I was in, but I hadn't even seen Fairy Tale just because it's like a really long series, and at this point I'm like, I can't keep up with how long Fairy Tale is. So I just went and saw the movie and didn't have a lot of context, but it was just really cool seeing myself on the big screen anyway. And I don't know, it's really cool just when you go to the theater and sit with all the other people, whether they know you're there or not, and just getting to see how people react to not even just your character, but just all the characters in general and how everything comes together, I think is a really cool experience. So I really like theatrical releases, so I hope I get to be
really
in more,
cool.
yeah.
I was at the premiere, and it's such a weird thing where you just see this cool person on screen, and you're like, oh man, I hope people think that I'm cool enough to sound like that guy that's really cool. So like it's always like this like just imposter syndrome kind of thing that always kind of creeps in a little bit. But yeah, it's like you said, it's just so cool to see people cheer and like freak out about just the things that are happening on the screen, and to know that you had a little bit of a part of that is just such a cool feeling. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever fully get used to being able to watch myself like on a big screen, but man, is it cool. It's very, very cool to see that.
Thank you.
Of course.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Hey, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Jessie. Totally geeked out at both of your booths earlier.
Feel free to
Yes.
tilt that mic down just a little bit for you.
There we
you go.
My question's for Billy.
Yes.
It's a specific question. For the episode with the Folio Queen and the Folio camp, after Nefumi feeds everyone, there's that really great line about feeding a KFC farm. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember it was like saying like it was like a
So
feel
like-
like a whole Kentucky Fried something.
Something like that.
I can't remember exactly, but I remember that was in there. I was like,
Yeah.
that's really funny.
I guess my question was that improvised? Was that actually in the script? Like, how did that come up? Because I think that's just a really interesting little like reference.
Yeah, so it was definitely not improvised. I want to say that was later in the season. I think that's when Kyle McCarley took over as the writer, and he's amazing. He's a great writer. So yeah, we have a really amazing staff behind us doing a lot of the stuff. Directors, engineers, script adapters, what else, like time coders?
Yeah.
Is that like the same as like the script adapter?
They're
Because
different.
I know you do that too.
Yeah.
so-
Well, I don't
Not
do
time
time.
code,
I do
uh,
scripting,
right.
but usually it's a different person that time
Gotcha.
codes. Yeah.
So there's so many
a
people.
bunch of people behind the scenes that you guys don't even necessarily know about yet.
Exactly. It's a big team, which is really cool. But yeah, it's there's not a lot of room to improvise, I feel like, in these situations. Sometimes if you have an idea where it's like, hey, I think I want to, can I try something if there's time? Like if you have a good pace going of like, okay, we're getting through our line count of how many we should be getting through an hour. Can I try something real quick? If you have like an idea, like sometimes you're like, yeah, cool, let's play around. I don't do that a lot because I'm always just like afraid of like, okay, am I getting enough lines in? Like, are we doing good? So I don't do a lot of improvised lines, and I definitely wouldn't do one like if it was like a specific thing. Like, I would never think we would be able to put like Kentucky Fried Fillolials in the show, but like it made it through, and like Crunchyroll saw that and were like, hey, that's really funny. Like, put that in. So that was really cool that it was able to be in. But yeah, no, that was all the writer and not me at all.
Yeah, it's also kind of hard to improvise too, because like you never know like how you're going to affect somebody else's line. So if you change a line and it makes it so that somebody else's line next to it is going to need a different response, that's more work for the director to like figure out how to change that. So we usually don't improvise for like original stuff. Like that's more acceptable, but for dubbing, it's a little tricky, I think.
Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Max, and I was just wondering. I'm sure you guys get asked this question a lot, but I love theater. I love acting. I am taking a theater course in college right now to, and major in communications to become a voice actor. I really want to become a voice actor. So, what would you guys say is the best strategy to like gaining a giant portfolio like you do, Erica, or yeah, I mean, it's just like a chance encounters like you had with Eric Londa, or like, what would you say?
A lot of it is, I mean, it sounds like you're on the right track right now. You're just in school, you're taking class. That's the most important thing, is to just be good at acting. That's first and foremost what you want to focus on. So it sounds like you're doing that, which is great. In terms of voiceover, yeah, I mean, I feel like every time I always ask people, like, how'd you get into voiceover? There was always like, oh, I got to do it in a super backwards way. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's just one of those things that you can never be like, okay, you're going to want to do musical theater for 10 years, and then you're going to want to, like, meet a guy, and he's going to tell you to go to this thing, and then you're going to meet this person that's going to tell you to get into these classes and meet these people, and then you will meet. It's like, you can't, like, take somebody else's thing. So it's just like, do as much as you possibly can, and one day you're going to end up in a situation where, like, you're prepared and you're ready to make it happen when like a voiceover opportunity happens. And there's a lot of things you can do online. There's a lot of things you can do no matter where you are in the country. And yeah, like the big places are Texas and LA,
New York.
New York
Yeah.
for all the like kind of video game anime, animation things. So that's definitely where you're gonna wanna end up if you're serious about getting in front of those big opportunities for sure.
Yeah, kind of like what Billy was saying. It's everybody has their own story, so it's really hard to give like a specific like this is the line, this is the path you need to take to become a voice actor. Because I know people that have gotten because they got discovered at comedy clubs or like showcases. I, took classes and got lucky enough to get picked out of the class, and then got auditions and happened to be at the right place at the right time when they needed a specific skill set that I had. But they might not always be looking for specific people that can do what you do, or maybe somebody else got in line first. Like it's all like really. There's no right way to tell you how to become a voice actor. It's just you keep trying, you keep practicing, taking classes and all that stuff, and just kind of hope for the best. Honestly, the best advice I could give someone who wants to become a voice actor is just keep at it and don't give up, because you never know like when it's going to happen for you. So, but yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great question. And to piggyback off of that, if you are interested in more voiceover information, there's another panel involving these two, as well as some other really important, very cool voice actors that is happening tomorrow afternoon.
Nice.
Just look for Voice Acting 101, so you'll be there.
Yay.
So feel free to join us for that as well.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Hi. What's your name?
My name is Noah. Dear Lord, it feels so weird being in front of a mic.
Doesn't?
Yeah, doesn't it?
Right?
Anyway, so this is a bit of a weird question.
We love those.
Of course we do. Anyway, early on in the series, when Naofumi first got accused, he went off and found that little alleyway with all the slaves, right? And one of the slaves that he saw was this big werewolf-like one that was like level 70. If he chose that one, how different would the series be? Oh yeah, and Erica has to play it.
If I have
say.
to play it.
I feel like it'd just be the same show. It sounds just like big Raftali, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It'd just be this big wolf guy with like the sweetest
Yeah.
little demi,
just like-
the demi
just super adorable.
human raccoon girl voice.
Now
Yeah.
Fumi's just buying him kids' meals and stuff.
Don't leave us.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be an unbelievably different show, because he wouldn't have to work probably very hard in the beginning to like train somebody up. It would just be like, all right, go kill a bunch of stuff and give me a bunch of experience points. And yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't get the answer of who would you ship now Fumi with? Giant werewolf
might.
guy.
You might.
Yeah, you're right.
You never know.
You never know. You're gonna find at least
It
one
is-
person.
It is the internet.
This is true.
Anything can
This is
happen
very
on the
true.
internet. Yeah, I definitely feel it'd be a much different show, because I feel like a lot of Raftalia's characters, her like helping calm Naofumi down from his like rage moments. So I feel like with that big werewolf, like level 70 crazy werewolf character,
Rage on rage.
he'd just be like, yeah, you rage on, dude. Like you go on with your
It's
bad
not
self.
fair. Let's kill everything.
Yeah, exactly. So
It
it'd
sounds like a
probably-
toxic relationship.
It does,
would be,
yeah.
for sure. So I like Raftalia the way she is, because I think she really helps keep Naofumi grounded.
Yeah, I prefer the show the way it is. I'm glad they didn't go the werewolf route.
Indeed. Oh, it would be interesting to see at least.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
That'll be in the DLC.
The DLC for the show. Pay for this extra content on Crunchyroll.
I actually want a game made of this show. Anyway, I think I'll be taking my leave now.
Thank you,
Okay,
Noah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, tell us your name.
My name's Ashley.
What's up, Ashley?
All right, so with the recent announcement that the Shield Hero Gang is like going to be joining Isekai Quartet, I was just wondering like what kind of interactions you were like wanting with like the other isekais. Like I know Erica, you play like Puck and ReZero and like Megumi and Konosuba, so I was just wondering like which animes and like which isekais you wanted to like have the Shield Hero Gang like talk to and like joke with, and like what were you expecting for that this winter?
Oh gosh, I don't mind if they talk to like other characters from other shows, but I'm kind of hoping, because a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, it can't wait for Raftalia to talk to Megumi and Puck at the same time," and I'm like, "Oh God, please no!" Like I don't want it to have a full conversation with myself with 3 characters in this show.
That's amazing.
I mean, I think I could do it, and they would sound like different enough. But that's always intimidating, having to play like, because I've done things where I've had to play like 2 different characters, like not very lengthy conversations with each other, but I played like young girl A and young boy A talking to each other in the same scene, and it's always really weird just talking.
Yeah.
Or there's a show actually, and I just got cast in this show called, what is this? It's like one of the weird isekai shows with a really long title. It's like something High School Prodigies. I don't know if anybody knows that show.
yeah. I'm in that one too.
Yeah, I played 2 characters in it, 2 of the main characters. One's like a full-grown woman, and the other is like a little boy. And they talk in the same scene sometimes, and they have different voices because one's a woman and one's a boy. But it's just very like weird having to play off myself sometimes.
It is weird, yeah.
So I don't know. I do it obviously, but I'm like, please no, like no big conversations between these characters. So
It is funny when that
it's
does
very
happen.
crazy.
Like sometimes it'll be like you'll be going back to do Walla and stuff, because it's like you'll do. Okay, my character's done in 30 minutes, so now we have like an hour and a half to pad some time. So okay, let's see what Wally can do. And then like, okay, this soldier like comes up to your character that we recorded earlier today, and he just like says something to him. He's like, okay, how do I make this guy different? Or like there was one time I was doing a show where they left the Walla to like the end, and they were like, okay, we have this crowd scene, and we need you to pad it out. And I had like 6 different guys that just had to go like, yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, like it was just like, okay, how many times can I make this sound? And then like we played it back, and I was like, I mean, to my ear, that just sounds like me saying yeah a bunch of times. So hopefully that sounds okay. But yeah, that's
I
always
hate
really
that.
fun.
Yeah, that's so funny. But I don't know. I feel like it's so weird. Like I'm really glad that obviously Shield Hero is going to be joining the gang in that. But I feel like the Shield Hero characters are probably the most normal out of all the isekai
Yeah, I was gonna
shows.
say.
So I'm really curious to see how they're going to react
For
to
sure.
some of the zaniness that's going to be happening with the
For sure.
other characters. Especially like I love Konosuba so much.
Konosuba's so good.
Just interacting with any of those characters, I think is going to be really funny.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Gian,
What's up, Gian?
and I was wondering if there is, if you all research the characters that you have roles for, and if so, what's the research process like?
I do sometimes. With some shows, it's kind of hard too because like there's not a lot of information. Like a lot of the Netflix shows, because they're like held on by Netflix, you don't really get a lot of information about them. And I these days I kind of like to like experience the journey with the characters. It's actually funny with Raphtalia. We had done the pilot episode. The pilot episode
Yeah, we did that like
happened
first, and then that was like we just let that go for a couple
months.
months.
Felt like
We
months
didn't know if it was
before.
gonna be a thing.
Yeah, so that happened, and I played incidentals in the show. I think I auditioned for mine. At the time, yeah, it was just mine. That's all the auditions that went out, and I was like, okay, didn't get this. That's fine. They called me in for incidentals, which is like the various background characters, and I was there for like 10 minutes. They had me play like 3 schoolgirls and some handmaiden or something like that, and I was like, okay, that's the end of that show. And then they had me audition for another round of characters, which ended up being Raphtalia and Philo. And I knew nothing about them. I assumed like they had already cast whatever main female was in.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got cast as Raphtalia, I didn't know she was the lead female. It wasn't until I went into
Really?
I went into Bang Zoom and talked to Jackie. Do you know Jackie
Yeah, yeah.
Lastra, who plays Melty in the
Yeah.
show? She was working at the office at the time, and I was like, yeah, I got called in to play this character, and she gave me like a button of her that she had found at a con that she was at, and she was like, yeah, I got this for you, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I got cast as this character, knew nothing about the show, and she's like, oh, well, you're like the lead girl in it, and I was like, I am. I guess that makes sense why they're having me come in for multiple sessions, but I assumed it was already like done and over with. And then I guess she coughs. She does like coughs in the cages.
Yeah.
Like she does like 2 little coughs, and I had to go back and redub that because somebody else had done it because I don't think they knew what was going on with it. So I had to go back and redub coughs. which
That's
is
funny.
But yeah, I had no idea anything about this show.
Yeah, I didn't know.
yeah.
I had no idea it was. It wasn't until I started doing conventions that people were like,
Yeah.
I've been reading the light novels. There's like 18 volumes. I was like, what? There's 18, or like even
Yep.
more than that now. It's like, I had no idea that how big and how much content there was around this. Like she said, we did the pilot episode first, and I remember I just got sent all 4 of the guys.
Okay.
And I just remember thinking, in the vein of the show, I was like, yo, that sword guy looks awesome. I want to be that dude. So I remember I spent a lot of time on my audition for Ren, and I was talking to the casting director at Crunchyroll, and they were like, yeah, we liked your audition for Naofumi, but we listened to your audition for Ren and went, that's Naofumi. So like, it was like, I remember that was like the more like the darker, deeper kind of thing. I was like trying to be a cool guy. I'm a cool guy with a sword. I was trying to do that kind of thing, and they're like, yeah, that's the guy. So, and now that I know about the show and I'm like doing it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, Naofumi's the freaking coolest. I'm so happy I got to be him. But yeah, I had no idea how big the thing was. And honestly, I'm so happy that I didn't know, because if I did, I probably would have worked my audition to death, and I would have done like 50 takes, and I've taken like every best syllable I thought in my head at the time, like from each one of those, and put it in like a big old Franken take together, and it probably would have been a mess. So it's kind of nice to be blissfully unaware of like an opportunity sometimes, because you can't get too in your head about it. So
That is the thing I've noticed. Like, I'd say 9 times out of 10, the character you want when you audition for it, you're not going to get.
Yep.
And then it ends up being a surprise that you get like this one that you totally didn't even have any clue that you'd have so much fun with it. So,
Exactly.
so that was kind of like, again, Raftalia. I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know. This just seems like a random girl in the show. And then I didn't think too much about the audition at the time. So I guess, you know, that helps. I feel like sometimes when you're auditioning to help you book things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Hi. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Zach.
What's up,
So,
Zach?
am I limited to one question? Because I had two, but
You know what?
You
I think
son
we
of
have
a-
time for 2.
okay. So, first off, specifically with Shield Hero, is there a particular way you drop into your characters, like any rituals or practices you use to help you like get in character before you do work?
I cry in the corner of the booth for a half an hour,
There we go.
and then I get to the mic and I go, okay, I'm ready. No,
And they call me in, and I just come in and I'm like, there, Billy, it's fine. It's okay. You'll be fine.
honestly, they play us vocal refs of like stuff, so it's always like you say the same things to kind of get into the voice. But for the most part, I feel like, especially with dubbing anime, it's all right there for you. So as soon as I hear the music, a lot of times I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm right back in the feel of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's cool that they'll play you the scene of what you're about to dub, so you get to hear the Japanese voice actor, which they're all amazing, and then you get to hear the music, you see the animation, and that usually just drops you right in the pocket of like, okay, this is where I need to be. Cool, here we go. So just getting to do a preview to hear everything that's already laid out in front of you.
Yeah, I tend to I have different stances for like different types of characters I play. So because Raftalia is, she gets actiony at times, but she's a little bit more like proper at times and just very caring and like sort of motherly in certain ways, while still being childish at times. So I tend to stand a little bit more straight with her. Sometimes I'll like put my hands behind my back and stuff like that. Whereas opposed to like if I'm playing a boy character, I'll stand with like my legs apart and kind of like move around a lot. Nice. So, but when she starts fighting and stuff, I'll kind of get more into that like action stance. But for the most time, she's very like, my body is very straight and like formal for her. Yeah.
Nice.
And what was your second one?
Yeah, my second question is, so any character you've played throughout your career, like when you got done in the booth and you were done with the show, was there a character that just stuck with you and was in your everyday life just from that point on?
I feel like I take a piece of everyone, honestly.
real, yeah.
Yeah. Some definitely hit me harder than others, but I've just been so fortunate, and Billy too. We've been so fortunate to play like such great like characters, no matter how much time you spend with them. So like the longest character I've spent time with is Gon from Hunter x Hunter, and then like the shortest character I've spent time with is probably the like major characters, Yuki from Sword Art Online. But both of them, they both hit me kind of at the right time in my life too. I feel like so they managed to like stay with me to these days for different reasons, and same goes for like Ryuko and Kill la Kill, or Deanna in Seven Deadly Sins, and Raftalia now, and all these other characters. So I can't say one stuck out more than others, but they definitely all stay inside me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like, I've had the opportunity to play some really, really awesome stuff. And for something like Josuke, where I got to, that was 39 episodes, was the most that I ever got to live with a character before. And it was after, I think, 9 months. Took us to dub that whole thing. Like once that was over, I was like, man, I'm gonna miss this. This was awesome. And I mean, and then like the cool thing about this career is that like you just always you get something in your inbox, like this audition. They're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome, and I hope I get it. And then like sometimes you do, and you're like, oh my gosh, here I am. And so I mean, there's always something else around the corner that you can look forward to. But yeah, it's always nice when you get one of those really meaty things that you can really just hold on to. But yeah, there's certain other ones more than others, and I just finished up something that I can't talk about yet that I was just like, man, I had no idea this was a thing, but it was so sweet, and I miss it already, and I really hope there's more. And again, like with Shield Hero, when we got season 2 and 3 announced, it's like, yes, like I can keep doing this, like I get to keep playing this dude, because I love just being in the booth and telling the story and just being a part of this show. So this is definitely one of those ones that just is definitely close to the heart for sure. So,
All right. Well, thank you so much.
thank you,
Yeah.
man.
Hi, tell us your name.
Hello, my name is Whitney.
What's up,
and So I have a degree in vocal performance, and there are a couple things that we do to preserve our voice. And I know that voice acting can be particularly vocally taxing. Lots of yelling and fighting and things, or coughing.
Yes.
But what are some things that you guys do to preserve your voice?
Oh man. So lots of sleep for sure. Tons of water. I feel like I just drink a gallon of
I
water.
drink a lot of
like,
liquids.
every
yeah. Tea,
session.
water, douse it with honey. Douse is
Exactly.
not the right way to
Yeah,
put
sure.
honey in it. We use there's this like vocal technique secret that we use. It's not really a secret at this point. They originally called it Hulk juice because Fred Tatasciore, who voices the Hulk, like swore by it. But it's this Chinese cough syrup called Ninjong Peipakoa or something
Dang,
like
you
that.
learned the name?
I don't know.
I
If
just
I'm
called
saying
low
it
quad
right.
honey because I'm like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's a low quat syrup.
Well done.
basically.
I'm impressed.
Yes, but you can literally type in Chinese cough syrup into Amazon at this point, and you can buy it. I prefer the Go-Gurt type packets. It comes in like to-go
I
packets.
thought you just meant Go-Gurt. It's
No,
like
no,
one of
no.
your secrets. Like,
No,
oh,
God, no.
just tons of dairy.
But
just
they also
dairy.
come in like these jars, but the jars get so sticky and gross that
do, yeah.
just get the packets.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That stuff is incredible.
Yeah,
If you have
it's
like a super screamy session, if
very
you just
sugary,
like,
though.
oh yeah, for sure. But if you
So.
just like gargle that for a little bit and then swallow that and then just like do nothing for 15 minutes, that's really nice for if you have like a crazy screaming session. I
Yeah.
remember I was living off that with Promare. That was by the last day when he's doing like the crazy like battle yells. He just screamed the entire thing. So by the like last time, like my voice was totally shot. So I had throat coat tea in one hand and I had a bottle of that low quad honey in the other and was just like chugging honey and tea like in between each take. So yeah, that's definitely great if you have a super stressful session. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
of
you.
course.
Thanks. Hi, what's your name?
My name's Amanda.
Hi.
What's up, Amanda?
Hey, so I was just wondering, like, Raftalia and Naofumi, they both have, like, really distinct personalities. And I was wondering how much you related to them, like, personally, or if that's, like, out of your normal behavior to voice them.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like Raftalia is a lot nicer than I am in person. But I do have I do have like the tendency to kind of like I feel like she kind of cares more for other people than she cares for herself, and I feel like I kind of do that sometimes without realizing it. I'll take other people's concerns more than my own. But yeah, other than that, like I can't think of like. I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm like really close to how she acts, but I mean, that's part of being an actor is you get to take on these different personalities and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like I'd like to be more like Raftalia. Like I strive to be more like her because she's just a great overall character, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with Naofumi, he's a lot more confident in just like I don't know, like the crafting and like the business sense of him. I was like, dang, that's smart. I was like, this guy's way smarter than me. Like people always talk to me about like another question that gets asked a lot. Hopefully, it's not one of your guys' questions. Is like, how long do you think you would survive in the Shield Hero world as you? And I was like, probably not very long. Like I definitely would not have figured out like how to defeat monsters and like all that stuff the way that Naofumi did. So I love playing him because I think he's really smart and he's really confident and he just kind of is very business time, and I really appreciate that about him. So he's just a cool guy. He's way
Awesome.
cooler.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, tell us your name.
Hi, my name's Savannah. I was wondering, what was your guys' first impression when you read the scripts for Naofumi or whoever you were gonna voice?
I remember, so again, just going in for the pilot, I think it's a heck of a first episode. My gosh, it really just sets the whole story up and is just like a heck of a roller coaster for Naofumi to go through. And I just remember being hooked from that, where I was like, we got done, and I was just, man, I really hope that this keeps going. I just really want this to get picked up because we weren't sure if it was going to. So I was just hooked on the story from the get, and I'm really happy that people have been digging it and we got to continue to do it.
Yeah. This is one of those shows that I don't think was on Crunchyroll in Japanese before we started dubbing it. We were kind of putting it out at the same time the Japanese was coming out. So I knew nothing. Like, I hadn't read the light novels. I knew absolutely nothing. So I was a little confused at first playing Raphtalia because she's like 8 when we first see her. And then she like slowly grows, and I'd have to keep asking the director, like, wait, how old is she here? Like, should I be changing my voice? Like, is she a teenager? Is she an adult? I don't know what's going on. So like, how am I gonna know how to like where I should be aging and where I shouldn't? Because sometimes she would still look younger, but then be older because her age is like based off her level or something like that, at least for a little while. So it was pretty confusing at the beginning for me, and trying to figure her out took a little bit of time. But once I kind of like got grounded with it, it was pretty easy to comprehend. So when she gets into her like full-on Raphtalia, like the Raphtalia as we know her, like. It started, becoming more like a second nature, but yeah, it was a little rough at the beginning for me, but I'm glad, it kind of gave me I'm always looking for different acting challenges in shows, especially anime, because sometimes you just get stuck in these like character stereotypes when it comes to anime, but being able to like age with the character with your voice is like really cool, I think. So it really tested my range, which was nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, tell us your name.
Yes, my name's John Concrite.
Hi.
What's up, John?
I was wondering, what is your favorite comedic isekai? I would say definitely that Shield Hero is my favorite dramatic isekai. There's a good amount of comedy in there, of course, but it's more, yeah, it's more of a dramatic series.
For sure.
And it's my favorite like that, but there's so many isekais that there's like a meta, and there's like praise on the concept that's just making a joke of the very concept of isekai. So
there's a lot like that.
yeah, what's your favorite kind of meta comedy take on the isekai concept?
I mentioned this a little earlier, but I really fell in love with Konosuba.
Same, yeah, me too.
I had no
discovered
idea.
it before the movie. I
Yeah.
started watching it before the movie that hit theaters.
Yeah, I had no idea I was gonna like it as much as I did. So it was very fortunate to play Megumin because she's, unbiased opinion, she's best girl.
A shots fired.
It's shots
Bam, bam,
fired.
bam.
Sorry, Aqua and Darkness fans. Yeah, I just love that little group of idiots. They're just. If you haven't seen Konosuba, like I would honestly give it a shot. You can
It's
watch
so
both the
good.
sub and the dub on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
The first season, the second season's not up for the dub anyway. But yeah, it's so funny. Like the characters are just like even more over the top, I think, than usual. Like isekai, they're kind of just making fun of the genre, and they're all just useless, and it's so funny.
I think that's what's so funny
It's
about
so
it. Is just like, what would happen if like there was a whole party where everybody was just awful? I just think that that's so funny to see.
good.
And yeah, I love that show too. I think it's hysterical, and I love it.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm really excited to finally watch it at some point. But I hear it's good.
Yeah.
It's good seeing you at the EvoCon too.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for seeing me again.
Hi, tell us your name.
Hi, my name's Mike.
What's up, Mike?
How's it going? My question is that, like for a lot of us, anime, video games, that's our, our hobbies, our pastimes, right? And like for me, I work construction. When I come home, the last thing I want to do is hang rope hooks, or do stuff like that. So, what do you guys do for fun? Like, what are your hobbies? Like, what do you do to relax and get out of that work fun?
Honestly, I feel like both our answers is watch anime and play video games.
Yeah. Although I have to admit, I don't do the anime thing nearly as much as I did when I was a
No.
teenager. Just because, kind of like you said, like you get just too oversaturated with
For
it at a
sure.
certain point. Because I used to I equate it to whenever people ask me like, oh, have you been keeping up with like blah 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 whatever season of this show or that show or that show? Because there's so much out there. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a lot of
it's
content.
so crazy. Can't keep up with everything. But I like to equate it to like I used to work at a restaurant, just a little Italian restaurant or whatever, and I would, eat the food there for lunch or whatever because it was just easy and it was free. But I would get sick of the food, so I'd have to like try new things every time, so I wouldn't get sick of that. Cycle this, the whole system like that. But you just get tired of it if you're eating the same thing over and over again. So I feel like that's kind of like anime. Like I can't revolve my entire life about an anime. But every once in a while, I'll like check out a new show or watch the shows that I'm in and stuff. I try to find as much time for video games though as I can.
Same.
But there's way too many. I have such
Like a
huge
backlog of like 20
backlog.
games. You just like go on PSN and just like, oh, this is
yeah.
$5 right now. Grab that real quick.
Just buy so many games
Save it
and
for
don't
later.
play them.
And
Yeah.
now I have like 20.
I'll buy games like at retail price when they come out, and I won't touch them for another 2
Yeah.
years, and they're like $20 at that point. I'm like, why did I do this?
Why?
But other than that, I like going out and doing karaoke with my friends every once in a while. It's really fun. We just did karaoke.
We did.
Not too long ago with a bunch of friends.
It was
Did
really fun.
Fire Emblem Three Houses themed karaoke.
It was
it was
fun.
great.
It was mostly just a Hamilton sing along.
It was.
For
It really
reals.
was. It was good. And then I have 2 cats that I really love, so I'll just hang out with my cats. Really, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Again, avid video gamer. I spend a lot of time doing that. I need to stop myself from playing Super Smash Brothers as much as I do. It's okay. So I went to the other, maybe 2 months ago. I was playing online, and I got so mad at somebody who was just being cheap. So I took the game out of the thing. I put it in the case. I put it in my suitcase, zipped it up, and put it in the top of my closet. I'm like, I will play this game when people come over. I'm not playing online anymore. I'm mad. And then I do this panel every once in a while where if you beat me in Smash Brothers, you win a prize. And I went to Galveston, Texas, and I got destroyed. I got like my butt handed to me by like 5 people in a row. And I was like, well, guys, I think we have answered the question of, can you beat me in Smash, as a resounding yes. So now I've been picking it up and playing it again because I don't want to get embarrassed at cons. But a lot of Smash Bros. I hike a lot. I work out a lot. California is just gorgeous, so just being outside in any capacity makes me very happy. And yeah, those are pretty much my hobbies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So we only have time for a couple more real quick questions. So I'm
Lightning
not sure we'll be able to
round.
get to everybody. So let's make
Try.
it snappy.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, my name is Marcus. My question is, how did you feel about episode 21, specifically the execution scene?
Oh my gosh. I know that they changed that a lot from the manga as like, okay, let's make Naofumi look like a nice guy, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, I can't. The whole changing of the names thing, I was like, are we really going there? Like, yep, it's in the book. I'm like, okay, here we go. But yeah, that was a heavy scene. And man, Faye had to scream a lot in that one. She did a great
Did you
job.
have to get in like a certain mindset to do it?
Again, it is one of those things that you just watch the thing, you watch the Japanese version, and you're like, okay, let's do it. Let's go there. So that usually just gets you right into character.
And at that point, it's like episode 21, so we're pretty,
Exactly.
engaged with the characters.
It's easy to drop in. So yeah, but that was a heavy one. I was surprised to see that was where it went. So that was crazy.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Dylan.
Hi.
What's up, Dylan? Sorry if this is already asked, but how might you start in voice acting video games and anime?
Acting classes, being in the right place. We discussed earlier, LA, New York, Texas. LA is where you want to go if you want to do more necessarily, like more than anime, which is a good thing to do. You don't want to just pigeonhole yourself into anime and video games because it's very limited, and you can't make a living off of that, especially in Los Angeles. So yeah, I would
form of
focus on
acting.
acting. Yeah, honestly,
Get
it's
in
more about
theater,
acting
improv
than the
classes,
voice.
anything you can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cool. Hi, what's your name?
Josh.
Hey.
Now that you guys have finished season 1, are you guys going to read the light novel version of the events?
I used to do research, like I used to watch the Japanese if it was out beforehand, but then I got lazy one time and didn't do that, and I liked it so much better. I was like, oh, I'm making discoveries
Yeah.
in the booth, and I'm not
It's a
wasting
nice
the
feeling.
tears on like the couch watching it at home or something like that. So I did that with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I liked it so much better. So I don't do any research, honestly.
Yeah, I don't
anymore.
like getting in my head about the way I feel like a performance should be either, because sometimes they change it from the novels or the manga to the anime. So I don't want to go in expecting something to happen a certain way and then be like, oh, well, that didn't happen. Okay, well, I guess the research didn't really mean all that much, So
Or you might get like an idea, and then the director is like, actually, let's do this. And
Yeah.
you're like, but I'm already locked into this read, like, so.
exactly.
I mean, like you've already watched. You guys have already finished season 1. I mean,
Yes.
reading the
Oh, read
Season
the-
1.
Season 1.
Oh,
stuff?
I see what you're
Finished
saying.
season 1. you
Um,
can read.
that comes down to having the time to do
Exactly. Yeah.
maybe
Got
eventually.
20 video games to play. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Got a lot of Smash to play, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and this will be our last question. Hi.
I had a question for Erica. I know that you voiced Emma in the Promised Neverland
did,
dub.
yes.
I was just
So
wondering what
good.
your opinions on season 2 were.
Oh, well, I don't know what they're necessarily going to cover. I kind of hope they get into, if nobody knows Promised Neverland, I apologize, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I kind of hope they get into like the Goldie Pond arc, which I think is incredible. So I'm like such a geek over Promised Neverland. I started reading the manga before I was in the show, and it's fantastic. Like the anime is good in its own right, but I feel like if you're a fan of Promised Neverland, you want to read the manga because there's so much more like internal monologuing going on, and it's just very important and specific to the characters, and it fleshes them out so much more. It's like so amazing. I'm a little behind on the manga right now, but I'm gonna catch up at some point, and I'm just so excited because I love the characters so much in that show. So I'm looking forward to season 2 so much. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, and then I have one final question. Are there
Yes.
any projects that are upcoming that you can tell us about, besides the one that you can't remember the name of?
Oh gosh. Oh, the Prodigies one. Yeah, I just call it Prodigies. That's what I know it as. Yeah, that one's coming out simuldub. I feel like everything's simuldub now. Fate Grand Order is also being simuldubbed every Saturday. You're in that as well.
I am.
I play MASH in that. It's very exciting because the Fate franchise is like so massive, and this one kind of like makes it even crazier because it's like we go to different worlds within the universe, but we're our own universe, and it's really weird. But I love all the characters in it, so it's very different than your typical Fate series because it's not like if you know Fate, it's not the servant master relationship. It's just kind of like we're out in the world and we're gonna fix it, hopefully. So it's really cool. That and what was it? We're also in. I'm announcing for you apparently.
Please.
The Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle.
Yeah, that just came out.
So I'm Orie in that.
And I play Naoto Korogane in that one. That one's really cool. I
Yeah.
like that one a lot. I'm determined to get good at that.
Yeah.
I'm not good at traditional fighting games at all, so I'm like, this is gonna be the one where I'm just gonna play through the whole story of it. It's gonna be cool. But yeah, I'm also in Fates. I play Amadeus in that, and I'm also in the High School Prodigies. I play like, his name is Elk, and he's a fox boy.
Oh, you're
so
Elk.
so I play like
yeah.
the Raftalia. I get to be the one with the ears and the tail in this one. I'm super excited. But that show is awesome. And yeah, there's a couple things coming out right now that I'm really excited about that I can't talk about. So yeah, follow us on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff because
Yeah.
there's some really, really cool things coming out that I can't wait to talk about. So.